Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something that's game changer for anyone dealing with documents, introducing Mistral OCR, the latest AI model that's setting a new benchmark in document understanding. Mistral OCR is not just another OCR tool, it's state-of-the-art model that outperforms leading solutions like Google Document AI, Azure OCR, boasting an impressive 95% accuracy rate. Whether it's a complex layout, tables, multilingual content, Mistral OCR handles it all with ease. In this video, I'll show you how to build a powerful tool for automating your invoices with Mistral OCR model, read any document and convert it into structured format. This means you can seamlessly integrate document data into your workflows, automate processes, and boost productivity. Let's jump in. So here's the blog post, and the model was released on March 6, 2025, which is like almost a couple months ago. I will leave a link down in the description to this blog post so you can read it yourself. Through a couple examples how it actually extracts all the information, and it's pretty efficient. But I wanted to show you a couple of the benchmarks. Actually, this model, Mistral OCR, beats all the models on the market: GPT-4o, Gemini, Azure, Google Document AI, etc. Natively multilingual tasks, it beats almost everyone, and as well as the benchmarks by different languages in like French, Russian, etc. So it's really an efficient model, and that's why we want to test that. We want to test it if it can extract the information from the invoice that we have and actually get us what we need. In order to do that, we actually going to be using the n8n for this workflow, and let's actually name this invoice information extractor, whatever, for example. And I'm actually recording this second time because the first time I was recording it, it actually didn't, and crashed and didn't save, and that's why I had to delete the whole thing and redo it again. So hopefully we can do it more efficiently now, and let's actually jump straight into it. So I'm going to be using the Gmail node, and the Gmail, I'm going to be receiving messages. In order to connect your Gmail node to n8n account, you go here and you basically need to sign in with your Google account, and it's as simple as that. And then basically what we are looking to do is we need to untick simplify, and that's because we want to download the attachments, because the emails we're going to be sending, they are going to be with the invoice. And basically the situation we're looking at today is that the company is sending you an invoice, and you want to add this invoice automatically to your Google Sheets so that you can analyze how many invoices you have arrived this month or next month. So you can actually use and deploy this data into your accounting software later on. Basically, that's the main idea of today's video. And here is actually an example how the email actually looks. So I'm sending this to my another email address, invoice, please find and attach the invoice. And the invoice looks like this. So we've got the invoice number, the issuer receiver, we got the dates, we got the service price, amount, the total amount, etc. Pretty simple and straightforward. Let's actually see how that works. And in order to do that, we need to send that email. Let's send the email. Let's wait until this email actually arrives to my inbox. So the email has arrived, it's right here. So let's actually fetch this data. Okay, so we got the table format or the JSON structure of the coming email, and the binary data is basically our attachment and the invoice that is attached to this email. So in order to use our OCR and extract the information, for this one we need to read the Mistral OCR documentation, and again I'll leave a link down in the description so you can read it. But basically we'll need to be doing three things. First of all, we need to upload the file to the server so that the model can access the file. Second, we're going to be generating a unique link so that the OCR model can actually download the file. And the third, we're going to be applying the model itself. So the first thing we need to do is, by the way, you're going to be going there and we have an upload file. You might have it by Python by default, but we're interested in the curl, and we need to copy paste that thing. And here we're going to be using the HTTP requests. So instead of us setting up the instructions ourselves, we can import the data right here, and it will pre-populate this for us automatically. The only thing what we are interested here is the input data field name. The input data field name will be the name of our attachment. That's one thing. And the other thing is we need to pass the unique API key right here. So make sure it's bearer space the API key. And in order to access your API key, you need to go to mistral.ai. You need to go to try the API. You need to log in, and then you need to activate your account. In order to activate your account, it actually doesn't cost anything. It's free of charge, and that's the coolest part of this model. It don't need to pay for that. So once you're in, you go to API keys. Here you hit create a new key. Let's call it information extractor key. I will make it disappear tomorrow. Let's create new key and let's copy this out right here. Okay, so we make sure you have bearer space the API key. Let's actually test if we get any reasonable results here. Okay, so the service failed to process your request. And the reason for this is whenever you create an API key in your Mistral account, you have to wait a couple or 5 minutes until it actually API key arrives. So let's wait a few minutes to make sure the API key is actually working and then come back again. Let's try again. All right, so now API key has gone through the system servers, and now we are actually getting any reasonable result. So here is the file name that we gather. The next thing we need to do is we need to get a unique URL so that we can pass that URL to our OCR model from the server to access to. And in order to do that, we need to make another HTTP request right here. And here we will import curl as well. We can go right here and we have get signed URL. So let's copy paste this one. Let's get back, paste that in, import. So everything is here except, first of all, we need to get our unique API key. So let's again copy paste the key and paste it right here. And the last thing here, we've got the ID number. So instead of this ID, we need to pass this ID right here. Well, the problem just doesn't write it where I need. So I will pre-select this guy and I will paste this guy right here. So that's the unique ID we need to be passing through. Okay, should work just fine. Let's actually zoom out a little bit and let's test the step. All right, so we got a unique ID. Let's actually test it out. So once we do that, we actually can download the file. As you can see, that's exactly the same file. So this node is actually working. Okay, so finally, when we have the unique URL, we can go and create another HTTP request where we actually gonna use the model to extract the meaningful information from the file. And for this one, we go right here, OCR with PDF. And actually it works with all the types of file. It works with doc file, TXT file, PDF. So should be fine for the majority of the file types. It doesn't work with the Excel though. Okay, so here we go and we just go in. Once again, we need to pass the API key right here. So we go and copy the key right here. And here we have the JSON body, basically saying which model we are using for what type. And the only thing is the URL that is right here has to be kind of dynamically passed through the messages. So that's why I'm gonna grab this URL that was right here. But basically, yeah, in those kind of brackets, you have to be passing this variable that is right here. Okay, let's check what we have here. One more thing, it's going to output, if we test the step, it's going to output as the file. So we can view the file, it's actually in the markdown format, but then when we go to JSON, it's just the URL. So this is if you guys want to get the JSON file, but if you want to get a JSON with unique variables that we can use later on, we would probably need to use the JSON structure right here. Okay, and let's actually test the step again. And once we do that, now we've got the JSON and different variables, and the whole text that is in the file is listed in the markdown format, which is pretty nice. Now we can work with this file. We can pass that information to our AI assistant that's going to extract what we need, right? In order to do that, basically what we're going to do is we're going to have another module which is called Information Extractor. And the Information Extractor module will actually get all the markdown that is right here. And the only difference is we need to tell it what variables we wanted to extract from the information we provide. For example, it could be issuer, invoice issuing company. It could be, total amount to pay, and so on, right? Instead of this thing, I'm going to be using pre-created JSON structure. So I'll go to generate from JSON example, and instead of this one, I will paste in another module. So here we go. So I want to pass the information about the invoice issuing. So this was issuing date, invoice number, issuer, receiver, total amount, blah, 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 etc., etc. Okay, so let's actually test the step and see if it can get the information. Well, it doesn't get the information because we haven't connected the model. So for this one, I'm going to be using OpenAI model, and we're going to be using, of course, 4.1 mini, which is an amazing model, by the way. We don't really need a lot more instructions here, so I'm just going to get back and test the step and see what we get. Right, so now as you can see right here what we got. Sorry, let's see the output. So for the output, we got the invoice number, issuer, receiver. And if we go and compare this to our invoice, let's actually open the invoice. Okay, so we get the invoice number, which is exactly correct. We got the issuer, Flowbyte.ai LLC, that's correct. We got the receiver, that's correct. Total amount to pay, 325, VAT 525, that's correct. Pay due 2nd of May, invoice date 28th of April, that's all correct. Line item 1, AI OCR agent creation, amount to pay, total, everything seems correct to me. I mean, total to pay, total euros, well, total euros might be actually this number, 2,500. It might actually misunderstood, but it's actually not clear here as well, because we've got the total here, total to pay. It's a little bit confusing, so we actually missed on this one. Probably we'll have to check on this part, but or give a little bit more clear instructions, but I think it nailed most of it. So once we have it, what we want to do, the last note is basically to enter this information into Google Sheets. By the way, before the Google Sheets, I didn't mention, but in order to connect to your information extractor, your model, which is OpenAI account model, you need to insert the API key, and the API key can be gathered from the platform.openai.com. If you go to your profile, you go to API keys, and then it create a new secret key. You name it somehow, you select default project, and you go with the new key. Once you have it, you will just insert the key right here, and here you go. You can use API models. Just make sure in order to use it, you have to have a few credits. So the last thing is we're gonna import this data into Google Sheets, and we need to append row in a sheet. Once again, in order to connect with it, we go sign in with a Google account, and you sign in with the right account you need, and then we go. Once you sign in with the right account, you will be able to select from your Google Drive the folders. So I'm looking for accounting data file that I have already pre-created. So the file looks like this. We've got accounting data, and we have company name, registration number, invoice date, total amount, and due date. Okay, so let's see what information we can pass. We have the only sheet here, and here we need to dynamically link all the variables. So the company name is basically the receiver company, and we've got the registration number of the receiver company. Then we got the invoice date. The invoice date was, invoice issuing date. Then we got total amount in euros. So the total amount in euros was actually, this guy. VAT was 525. That was this guy. Then we have total to pay, total amount to pay. And then we have pay until this guy. Okay, pay due, this guy. Right, so let's actually test the step and see if we can add it into our Google Sheets. All right, so 5 variables. Let's actually see mess advisory, and all the information is right here, which is correct. So that's pretty cool. So now we have created an AI assistant that can extract the information from the email, pass that to our AI assistant, basically that will scan the information and get it in the right readable format, and then we pass that information to another AI assistant that will extract it in a meaningful way and make it like kind of a JSON output for us that we can reuse later on and put it in the Google Sheets. Well, now it's actually going to work for each and every email that I receive, but instead of this one, I can have an AI assistant that will actually read all the emails, and if the email is about an invoice, it will actually call a certain tool to add this invoice to a Google Sheets. Otherwise, we'll ignore it. And for this one, we need to create another scenario, and then we will be able to connect 2 scenarios together. So actually, let's build this real quick. Once we go there, now this scenario is going to start from the Gmail as well. So we're going to be still receiving the same emails like we did before. So make sure we have all the attachments, and let's actually fetch the first data. So we should get all the the first email that's in the list. So now instead of going through the OCR model of each email, we're going to create an AI assistant, basically an AI agent. And here we're going to define below the prompt, and here I want to have a system message. So we can write something like, you're a helpful assistant, your job is to generate an answer to client. Actually, to email. So the email is not always a client. If the email is an invoice sent from operation partner, use the tool to save invoice in Google Sheets. Okay, that's simple. And here, subject, we can say date, and what else? Well, I think that's enough. So let's say we've got the subject. Let's find where is the subject right here. Sorry. So here is the subject. We've got the body, and then we had the date. Okay, I think that should be enough. All right, so then we can create a chat model, and once again we can use OpenAI 4.1. Let me quickly find 4.1. Okay, so we've got this one, and now we're going to use a specific tool, and I will show you what we need to use a specific tool. And a tool we're going to be basically calling another workflow right here, and we can have a description, Google Sheets. So and we say call this tool when you receive an invoice and need to add this invoice to Google Sheets. And here, invoice information extractor, we're going to be calling this scenario. Okay, but first of all, let's actually save both scenarios. Well, let's save this one. But now, instead of the Gmail trigger, we're going to be having another trigger. We're going to be still retrieving the information from the email, just because we can't send through the API call different data like attachments. But what we can do is we can send message ID, and that's why we're going to be extracting that information once again through the get message, but we will need this kind of message ID right here. So the message ID will be unique ID that we will need to pass through the AI agent. Okay, this is going to be connected here, and instead of manually triggering it, we're going to have another trigger that's going to be executed by another workflow. Okay, and right now is very important. We need to define a unique field that's going to be used to trigger that information. Let's actually test the step. So now we've got the message ID is equal to null, and we connect it to our email. So our email should actually get this message ID, right? And AI assistant will kind of determine what is this message ID and where we need to get it from to call a specific tool. Okay, so this scenario, let's actually save this one, and let's get back to this guy, and basically workflow inputs, add workflow. So first of all, we need to test the workflow. Let's actually save it because it will error us a tool use. And now basically what we need to do, it will need to understand that once we're actually sending this scenario to this agent, it will actually extract what input variables are expected, and we're expecting the message ID variable. Okay, so now we're going to go to mapping to schema, and we need to pass that ID right here. And actually to execute a tool, it needs to pass the message ID so that we can extract that same email in the scenario and run this invoice through the OCR technology. Okay, so once this is done, let's get back. We've got the model, we don't need memory. Well, let's actually save the guy right here. It's already saved. Let's see if we test the workflow and we get any meaningful output. All right, the model is thinking. Hopefully we get anything. So if we go back right here, so we can see that this thing was just recently added. It was just the last, because once we did it the first time, it was this guy, and now we have this guy. You can also go and check if it was executed correctly. So now if we go to executions, we see that now 1324, it was executed just now, and it's same for this scenario. Because we called this scenario, you can go to executions and see that 1324, it was executed just right now. Okay, that's how it works basically. And now, instead of running this system through each and every email that we receive in our email inbox, we can have an AI agent that will sit in our inbox, read our emails, and only if this email is about the invoice, it will actually call specific tools to add this invoice to our Google Sheets database. Otherwise, here we just provided it to sort of provide any answer, but this answer doesn't go anywhere. We can actually also put some specific things to ignore it as well. So yeah, but the cool part is that now we don't need to run it on each and every email. We can actually run it only on the emails that are sort of invoice-based emails. And that's a wrap. We've seen how Mistral OCR can revolutionize the way we handle documents, turning unstructured data into actionable insights. Remember, with Mistral OCR's high accuracy and speed, processing up to 2000 pages per minute, you can automate tasks across various domains, from finance and legal to healthcare and logistics. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more insights into AI-powered automation. Got questions or want to share how you're using Mistral OCR? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.